Your ability to hear God's voice is not a skill you develop. It's a relationship you have. John chapter 10 verse 27 says, "My sheep hear my voice, and I know them, and they follow me." Notice what Jesus doesn't say. He doesn't say, "My sheep try really hard to hear my voice." He doesn't say, "My sheep learn techniques to hear my voice." He says, "My sheep hear my voice." If you belong to Him, you hear Him. That's just how the relationship works. So why do many Christians feel like they can't hear God? The issue isn't whether He's speaking, because He's always speaking. The issue is whether you know Him well enough to recognize His voice. John chapter 10 verse 14 says, "I am the good shepherd, and I know my sheep, and am known by my own." Think about it. You recognize the voice of someone you know, right? Even if they're in another room, you know who's talking. But a stranger? You're not sure. Same thing with God. The more you know Him, the more you recognize Him. Jesus uses the shepherd metaphor in John chapter 10 because the audience would have understood it immediately. Back then, shepherds would keep multiple flocks in one sheepfold at night for safety. In the morning, each shepherd would come and call, and only his sheep would respond to his voice. And it's not because they were specially trained. It was because they spent every day with Him. They knew Him. That's how it works with you and God. So how do you hear God? First, be in His Word. God's primary way of speaking is Scripture. If you're not in the Word, you won't recognize His voice anywhere else. Second, eliminate the noise. Constant distraction drowns out His voice. And it's not because He's not speaking, it's because you're not listening. You can't hear a whisper in constant noise. And number 3, obey what He's already said. God reveals more when you obey what He has already revealed. He shows you more when you follow what He's already shown you. You don't need a special ability to hear God. You need to know Him, and that comes from spending time with Him.